Hello, HATS campers, and actually Wilderness Leadership Academy candidates. My name is Mark Kramer, and I will be your director for this weekend's Wilderness First Aid Adventure. I'm thrilled that you all have decided to take a step to earn your Wilderness Leadership Academy certification. And an important part of that is learning the safety protocols that we adhere to here in the HATS program. So thank you for your willingness to join us this weekend. I'm looking forward to working with all of you. As you all know, the HATS mission is growing relationships, communication, and leadership through adventure with our dads. And we can't do that unless we're able to ensure the safety for all of the participants on our adventures. Earning your Wilderness First Aid certification means that you will be able to understand and implement the HATS safety protocols anytime that we're together out on an adventure. So the theme for this weekend and the underlying theme for all of our adventures is Safety Starts With Me. We are thrilled and appreciative to be back at Steve Lander's Double Diamond Ranch near Non, Oklahoma. That's about a 2.5-hour drive from HATS headquarters north of the Red River. I'll be directing, and co-directing along with me is John Biederbach and Charles and Annika Triplett. And we have an exemplar mentor team of Chris and Maddie Overhauser and Ken and Wes Peters. So the activities start Friday night. But as you know, being the experienced adventurers that you are, your adventure actually starts now. So I highly encourage dads and students to watch this video together, to read through the participant packet together, and start planning now to make sure that you have everything that you need for a comfortable and successful experience this weekend. Here's the schedule that we'll be following. Most HATS adventures start at 8 p.m. on Friday nights, but in particular, the Wilderness First Aid certification class, we have a lot of information that we need to cover and a lot of simulations and practice things that activities that we do throughout the weekend. So it's critical that you're there for an on-time start at 8 p.m. as we will be having talks and collaboration and simulation between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. Friday night. So if you want to be there in time to set up camp and make sure that you're settled in before we start, plan to arrive probably by 7:30 at the latest after that 2.5-hour drive from the Metroplex. So please plan accordingly because we will start promptly at 8 p.m. on Friday night. Saturday will be the typical schedule of waking up at 7 with our group activities beginning with a circle up at 8 a.m. In the morning, we'll be covering CPR and AED training, as well as how to respond to typical types of emergencies that we find out in wilderness situations and settings. We'll break for an hour for lunch at noon, and in the afternoon, we'll play a few games. We'll learn how to treat bleeding and burns and trauma and related kinds of injuries. We'll have a fun activity at the end to put everything together that we've learned throughout the day. And then we'll take a break and wrap up and get ready for dinner. The dinner will be the standard grilling over the open fire on our grills. Dutch ovens are allowed right now, so if you've got a Dutch oven, please bring that to be able to share with people. And after dinner, the program is a little bit different than our other adventures, and this time we'll hear and we'll share first aid stories from previous HATS adventures so that we can all learn and benefit from the experience of those that have gone before us, so that we can add to the collective wisdom on how to deal with incidents and emergencies moving forward into the future. On Sunday, we start again with our wake up at 7 a.m. and our standard circle up at 8 a.m. We'll have a few more games. We will do some summary activities to take a look at what we learned this weekend and consider how to put it into practice. We will have our breakout questions that have a first aid theme, and then we'll wrap everything up and break camp by 11:30 a.m. As always, we promise to make sure that we do finish at 11:30 a.m. so that everybody has time to get back to Dallas on Sunday afternoon. So as Wilderness Leadership Academy candidates, you all should be very familiar with the standard gear that you want to bring in order to be comfortable and successful. So things like making sure that you have ample water supply for everybody on your team. The 8-pound bag of self-lighting charcoal. Please do not bring standard charcoal. Make sure it is typically the black and red bag of self-lighting charcoal, as that's what we need to efficiently set up and create our campfires. All of those other standard items are listed in the checklist that is in the participant packet that you've received. Besides that, though, make sure that you bring inhalers and EpiPens, meds, or any other kind of personal safety items that you might need that are not standardly accessible. The nearest town with supplies and a hospital is Colgate, Oklahoma, and that is about 30 minutes away from where we're camping. So make sure that you pack and bring everything that you need to be comfortable and prepared in case of your own personal emergency. Along with the standard gear that you would bring on a HATS camp out, here are a few things that we want to make sure that you have in order to be comfortable and effective this weekend, specifically at our Wilderness First Aid instruction. We're going to be inside a barn, and this structure it's large. It has a roof, it has walls. There are garage doors at either end that we will keep partially open to ensure adequate airflow. And we will have some space heaters inside as well to try to keep us warm. But you'll have a warm, dry place to be this weekend. But you will want to make sure that you bring camp chairs and a small table with you while we're there inside the barn. And that way you'll be able to sit, you'll be able to take notes, and you'll be able to keep track of all of the instructional things that we're doing. It's really critical as well that you bring your white leadership guidebook. This is a really helpful reference for first aid, and we're going to talk about that and explain how to use it. So make sure that you bring this with you this weekend. Now, we will be providing for you an additional first aid book, some first aid kits with supplies, and a few other things that you will find helpful as resources when you are out on HATS adventures. So we'll provide that for you. No need for you to bring those kinds of things yourself. I mean, feel free to if there's something that you want to share, but we'll make sure that you are equipped when you leave with the knowledge, the experience, and the materials to enact and enable the things that we're going to be talking about this weekend. There is no such thing as inclement weather. There's only inadequate clothing. As you know, we do not cancel HATS campouts for bad weather. We always have a plan for safety, and we'll be covering a lot of that this week. But regardless, it's always a good idea to bring rain gear and several synthetic layers so that you can adjust for your comfort as unexpected weather changes come along. Make sure that as a leader, we always have a positive attitude. So our effect on the campers that we are leading is dramatic. And it's important for us to be thankful that we're out spending time with our fathers, spending time with our sons and daughters, enjoying nature, learning new things. And all that's something to be thankful for regardless of the weather situations. So regardless what happens this weekend, we'll have a great attitude and have a lot of fun while we are all together. Check the packet for additional information specifically about cold weather camping. Even if you don't need that for this weekend, it's good to know, and you may need it on a future adventure. Okay, as I mentioned before, Steve's Ranch is about 2.5 hours north of the Metroplex. You'll just go up US 75 all the way into Oklahoma and follow 75 as it takes a left turn in Atoka. So you'll notice that if you miss that turn, it turns into Highway 69. But we'll want to stay on 75 through Colgate, and then 75 splits, and you'll see it's a marked intersection. So the map is there in your guidebook, along with GPS instructions. We will have hat signs available on the first turnoff after Highway 75. So check the map. But if you haven't been out there before, it is at least a 2.5 hour drive, and that's without traffic. So make sure that you plan accordingly, especially if you want to get there in time to set up your tent and everything before we get started at 8 p.m. Okay, you all are Wilderness Leadership Academy candidates. And so I know that you are already very aware of the non-negotiables, but as the non-negotiables play an important part of our safety protocol, it's important for us to share and understand them before we head off on this adventure. We will be utilizing the 18-inch rule this weekend, making sure that dads are with their students the entire time, learning together and practicing together how to implement our HATS safety protocol. You all know that we leave our electronics at home or at least in the car, and that certainly includes cell phones. We will try to be unplugged this weekend and focusing our time on each other rather than social media or the outside world. Of course, you know that there are no alcoholic beverages allowed on the weekend. That keeps dads from focusing on spending time with their students, and it's illegal for students. And we know that no pets are allowed, and there's no need for firearms out at Steve Lander's ranch. Then it's important to know, and we're going to talk about this more this weekend, the protocols for leaving. If you know already that there is some reason that you are going to have to leave early on Sunday or Saturday for that matter, it's important to let the directors know so that we can understand where you are and account for your presence at camp or not. Should something happen during the weekend that requires you to head back that was not planned, likewise, it's also important to let the director know. If somebody goes missing and we cannot account for their whereabouts and don't understand why they're gone, we will stop everything until we have found that person. And so it's really important to let us know. And then, of course, out of respect for everybody else in camp, if you know that you have to leave sometime Sunday morning, we hope that's not the case. We hope that you're able to be with us for the entire time. But if you do need to head back early, we ask that you are packed and left from the camp before the 8 a.m. circle up so that we don't disrupt the other activities. It's not fair for the rest of the campers to be distracted if somebody else is packing up and leaving when we're trying to focus on the activities that have already been planned. So these non-negotiables do play a role in helping to ensure safety for the weekend, and we'll talk more about that this weekend as well. Well, that covers everything we wanted to let you know to have a successful adventure, but be sure to check the packet for details on all the tips and the notes that we shared here. My last request is that you reach out to me and let me know if you are not going to be able to make it for the 8 p.m. start time Friday night. As I mentioned before, we have a lot of information to cover. We have some fun and engaging activities, And it's really critical that everyone be there from the start. If for some reason you know that you're not going to be able to make it by then, please give me a heads up so that we can be aware of that and be looking for you when you do arrive. Our goal for this weekend is to give you the knowledge, to give you the tools and resources, and to give you the practice and experience that you need to have all the confidence to respond effectively to any emergency situations that we might find ourselves in HATS Adventures. With that confidence, we'll all be able to work together to lead successful HATS Adventures. I'm thankful for you all, safe travels, and I look forward to seeing you on Friday.